seen this. We seen this story before. We seen this story before with Terence Crawford. And now we are witnessing it happen to his little bro, Shakur Stevenson. It's happening a lot sooner than I thought, right? But it's very similar to Terence Crawford's situation in a lot of ways, right? And you see the little homie here looking up at Bud like, man, you finally made it, right? You finally made it through after all the stuff you had to go through. I think the politics for Crawford was a harder fight dealing with the politics than actually some of these damn fights he had. And now you got the little homie Shakur Stevenson looking up at him. At this time, like, man, big bro made it. Now it's my turn. And he's going through somewhat similar ride that Terence Crawford went through. Having problems getting fights. And this likely will be the story of Shakur Stevenson's career, even when he gets to the top, right? When he officially gets to the top, he still will have these problems. It don't matter if you got all the belts. None of that stuff matters when you're too good for your own damn good. And Shakur Stevenson is definitely too damn good for his own good. Another thing Shakur Stevenson probably shouldn't have done was spar so many of these damn guys, right? Because now he kind of boxed himself into a corner to now where now guys are going to find clever ways to spin narratives and to use the politics to give him. This is why he should kind of pull back from social media a little bit, right? Pull back from social media a little bit, or be real mindful of what he type out there, right? Because fans going to spin anything and everything he say now to justify their agenda. But if you're a fan of all these guys that's in this situation, right, and you could speak on this topic objectively, these guys are running from the hills from Shakur Stevenson, similar to Terence Crawford. Now, fans didn't want to give Crawford that credit that these guys was running from him, et cetera, but they was avoiding him. Okay, I'm not slighting these dudes. I'm not bashing them. I don't got to do that stuff. But I like to call things how I see it. And when the guy moved up into your weight class, who's quote unquote a smaller man, but a very talented smaller man, move up to your weight class looking for the smoke, all you guys act like he didn't exist. They act like he didn't exist. These are real things that really happened to Terence Crawford, and we saw it in 4K. Actually, it wasn't even 4K back then. Maybe towards the later part, but you know what I'm getting at, right? Same thing is happening to Shakur now. Literally nobody in a very competitive lightweight division is lined up the door to fight him. And when he had that interview with my boys, Mr. LTBA and JJ Solomon from the Spit Bucket podcast, saying controversially that he thinks the lightweight division is soft. He thinks it's overrated. And I'm starting to believe that he was right. A lot of them dudes don't want to fight each other. A lot of them dudes ain't fighting. You know, Devin Haney outgrew the weight class, right? One may say Devin pretty much outgrew the weight class. This whole thing with Shakur Stevenson. The thing with Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney is that they was friends ever since they was kids. And now this little rivalry with those two guys got pretty nasty, right? And I think I could put some of the fault on Shakur Stevenson. I think he was probably a little too, how should I say it? What word do I want to use when you're trying to come at your homeboy, right? Now, of course, this is a sport competition. We knew this day was going to come. They knew this day was going to come. But I think a friendship has gotten nasty. We saw some of the last things they said to each other. I'll see you soon. I'm beating your ass. It got real street real quick, right? It got real personal, got real street between these two dudes. And hopefully someone down the line, they can kind of bury this hatchet and continue being homeboys again. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, they've been cool since they was little. And now it's a situation to where Shakur Stevenson wanted to get into the position that Devin Haney was in. Now, Devin Haney kind of left his position. He's moving up to a higher weight class. Stevenson, now he's still at 135, still without anybody looking to fight him. Nobody. Not Frank Martin. Nobody. Frank Martin was the guy that was closest to giving us a fight with Shakur Stevenson as far as some of the more notable lightweights, but we saw that it just didn't happen. For whatever reason, Frank Martin didn't take the fight, man. He still has, as of now, me making this particular video, he has yet come out and address why he didn't take the fight. The only reason I say is valid is if he's fighting Tank. That's the only reason. That's the only pass I'll give him is he's fighting Tank. Anything else than that is ridiculous to me. Shakur Stevenson is going to be a tough fight for any of these guys. And I'm sure all these guys know it at this point. Similar to Terence Crawford. He's going to be a tough fight for any of those dudes. And they knew it. But you got to do it. When it's time to fight, it's time to fight. And it was time to fight for Frank the Ghost Martin, and he goes to Shakur Stevenson. But fans cleverly found a way to spin it, right? Now, real boxing fans, ones who go keep it 1,000, ain't let them spin it all the way. But they still spinning it just enough to where it's getting out there to where it's Shakur Stevenson's fault. It's almost like hashtag blame Bud. So now it's going to be hashtag blame Shakur. It's your turn, little dude. It's your turn, bro. You watched Crawford go through all that, but look where he was at when you was watching him right here in this picture. He finally got the fight that he was looking for. He finally got the opportunity he was looking for. I mean, at 35 years old. So it's happening earlier for Shakur Stevenson, all this politics stuff, right? It's happening early. So he may get out of it early. He may get out of it early. Shakur Stevenson's going to have to get into position to where he can make himself so much of a draw, so much a big of a name to where they got to fight him. Not to mention he got to collect all those belts too. To the point where they got to fight him. Unfortunately for Top Rank, Bob Arum and all those dudes, Shakur Stevenson is extremely, extremely talented. Right? And everybody knows it. So a lot of these guys, probably like Frank Martin, go want a pretty penny to fight him. Similar to Jerron Boots in it, similar to with Crawford. These guys go want a lot of money to fight him. So he gonna have to find another Yoshiro Yoshino type of guy to fight him. Those type of guys to fight him. Maybe a Maxie Hughes to fight him. Those type of guys get in the ring. But as far as the Cambosis, the William Zepeda, who also, by the way, came out now. If he say he can't get Devin now, he'll be interested. Man, nobody hearing that shit, bro. But William Zepeda, Pitbull Cruz, right? And when we name dropping these guys, people, it's almost like Tank Davis is not really a lightweight. It's almost like he's not even a lightweight to match him up with anybody because we already know what Tank's gonna do. He's gonna do what he wants to do. He's gonna do whatever it is whatever his handlers want him to do, he's gonna do it. It ain't gonna be in the best interest of the hardcore fans, I'll tell you that. It ain't gonna be Tank Davis fighting Shakur Stevenson for the vacated WBC title and Tank Davis the WBA champion. It could be a unification fight. Now they ain't gonna do nothing like that. They ain't gonna do nothing like that. Terence Crawford went through this same thing at a much later age. And it wasn't looking good for Bud at one point. It was so bad for Bud. He was damn near like, man, fuck this. Politics was beating him down. But he persevered, stood tall, and came through in the end. He came through in the end. It worked out for him. It's going to work out for Shakur too. It's going to work out for him. He's too good for it not to. He's too good for it not to. They can't beat him in the ring, so we go use the politics to beat him up. We go use the media to beat him up. We go use the fans to beat him up. This is what boxing is in the modern era. If there's a fighter out there that's really, really good, the people that don't like this particular fighter will find a way to have the politics beat him up. To accuse him of being on PEDs or look for any little thing. They did it to Bud for years. Oh, he's chinny. We heard this chinny narrative for Crawford for years, to the point where you damn near start believing that this dude's really chinny. Because of 2 instances out of all the fights Crawford had, and he got more knockouts than a lot of these guys got fights. And all the fights that Crawford has, they found 2 instances where Crawford showed some vulnerabilities. And it was the Gamboa fight and the Mean Machine fight. And then he gets in there with some of the more top guys, Porters, Errol Spence, the Kell Brooks. He gets in there with those dudes. They can't move him. They can't move him. Spence got beat up worse than anybody did by Crawford. I don't think I seen Crawford whoop anybody as bad as he whooped Errol Spence Jr. And that was supposed to be his toughest fight, and it looked like his easiest fight. Easiest fight televised. But it took a while for Crawford to get to that point, to where he got Errol Spence in the ring. And we followed the whole saga on both channels. Bushido Boxing, we do live streams over there. Go check us out, Bushido Boxing. It took him a while to get to that fight with Errol Spence, bro. A long time for Terence Crawford, but Shakur Stevenson is going through the same thing, y'all. History always repeats itself. It's the same thing. We've seen this story before. And we've seen the ups and downs of these fighters that's really, really good, that's too good for their own good. We've seen how it plays out for them. Now we see guys like Boo Boo Andre finally getting a fight with David Benavidez. Hopefully that fight gets finished up. Guys like Gary Russell wasn't so fortunate, right? Guys like Guillermo Rigondeaux, well, he had to do all kinds of crazy stuff to get dudes in the ring. And I'm just going over some of the more notable avoided fighters. Shakur Stevenson is going to go through the same thing. I remember Devin Haney actually was going through it at one point. I'll bet briefly, right? It wasn't too long, but Devin Haney also went through it to where he couldn't get no fights. Devin Haney put himself in position, showed some vulnerabilities in fights I felt that the guys probably felt they can capitalize on. Then that's when guys started being interested in fighting Devin Haney. Right? So Shakur Stevenson is going to have to put himself in position. Unfortunately for him, it's going to be really, really hard. It's probably going to be a lot harder for him to get guys in the ring than it was even Devin Haney. So unless they email him that WBC belt, which is looking like they may end up having to do if he can't get nobody in the ring, Shakur Stevenson right now is the most avoided fighter in the sport of boxing. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.